Hello, my name is Dean Frias, and for my Module 5 assignment, I decided to cover the impacts of poverty on student success. To get us started looking at the background and overview, I feel like it's helpful to rephrase the question: does poverty impact a student's education? Overall, there is significant support for the claim that poverty does impact a student's education, affecting access to academic resources such as technology or even tutors. But specifically also essential needs such as food and shelter. This food insecurity can hinder a student both academically and physically, as established by the Centers for Disease Control in a 2022 article, basically stating that it makes it more difficult for a student to concentrate on their academics when they're not provided a nutritious meal. The impact is evident as statistics produced by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, showing about 21% of children in rural areas and 16% in metro areas do live in poverty. This does emphasize regional disparities, and it does have a major income or a major impact on communities of color. To define poverty for this presentation, we're going to be using the 2023 federally determined threshold, which is about $30,000 for a family of four. This number does change depending on family size. Again, it does disproportionately impact Black, Native American, Hispanic, and rural populations, leading to more insufficient community infrastructures. These infrastructures are important for things such as safe student transportation to or from school, teacher compensation and retention, and funding for staff positions such as counselors and nurses. This inadequate school infrastructure is correlated with a higher likelihood of students not being set up for success. Again, that lack of access to technology and even higher cases of qualified and skilled educator turnover will lead to lower test results. As we see here in this chart on the right-hand side, established by the National Center for Educational Statistics, this graph illustrates essentially a correlation between overall school poverty levels and reading comprehension scores. As we can see, the more higher poverty rate a school is scored, they have lower reading scores, impacting the student's overall education. Additionally, lower performing schools can lead to school closures and redistricting, furthering educational inequalities. It doesn't stop in K through 12, unfortunately. Poverty does impact students who are in higher education and college, uh, even applying for college. As we saw in the previous slide, that statistics graph shows lower scores, and unfortunately, many college applications do require transcripts or test scores to determine an individual's acceptance eligibility. According to the Arizona State University's University Senate, about 30% of college students are food insecure, and many also face housing insecurities. These baseline insecurities essentially lead to poorer student academic success, as they can't concentrate on their studies, rather having to concentrate where their next meal may come from or what their housing situation may be. This does lead to higher rates of dropout, which may mean that students return back to their communities without any of the advantages of getting a higher education. Uh, some ways that this conversation is shaped is through school choice, the conversation of school choice. Essentially, proponents for school choice policies argue that allowing parents to choose which schools are right for their children will help better their children be set up for success. Opponents of school choice policies argue that often the same funds that allow people to go choose out their specific schools are being taken away from schools that could need those funds, further exacerbating inequalities. Also, they tend to cite that private schools and charters may not be as inclusive as current public schools. Some may even be cherry picking students based on academic performance or other criteria to make their private or charter school seem more prestigious. Another way to look at this, many people talk about food insecurities and student success. Many people are interested at looking at a program for universal free lunch programs or even expanding SNAP participation to colleges as a possible solution. SNAP is a government nutrition and food assistance program. Essentially citing the CDC's communication between access of nutritious food programs and overall school performance as a reason why these programs should be accepted. Opponents of universal free lunch programs point to unnecessary pressures on school districts and schools, as well as potential waste of both of the physical food and money due to students might not be appealing. The food might not be appealing to students, thus wasting more food. My personal perspective, overall, I believe poverty has major impacts on our educational systems in many different areas. It's really hard not to see the correlation. As the report on the condition of education states, factors such as poverty and lack of parental high school completion are linked to adverse education outcomes, including low achievement scores, grade retention, and high school dropout. In my opinion, this continues to feed back into the cycle, and it is hard to break. So, does poverty impact a student's education? Overall, yes, I believe so. Here are my references, and thank you very much for your time.